Today we're at the University of Chicago giving out free samples of human breast milk. Freshly squeezed human breast milk. Come try your titty juice.
I think this is like the best organization ever.
Yeah?
I fully support this.
You fully support human breast milk?
I fully support human breast milk. I would drink this every day if I could.
It's made by humans for humans,
don't pour it.
so it has the nutrients we need. It has more calcium and more B12 and more protein than cow's milk. Don't you think it's weird that people are happy to breastfeed from a cow, but not from a human?
Probably, yeah. I mean, it's all very industrialized and very, I don't know. Broadly seems to be a lack of respect for life.
So is this like a publicity thing? You guys are like doing shock value human breast milk to talk about like animal rights?
Fine.
Is that what?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, you're on to us.
Okay.
You're on to us. The most important part is the ethical component. See, our mothers give birth and then they donate the extra milk, whereas cow's milk, they steal the babies away from the cow and then they slaughter the cow when she doesn't produce milk anymore after she's been forcibly impregnated. We find that unethical, so we are providing an ethical alternative to cow's milk. So do you think that we should include animals in our circle of moral concern?
Yes. I don't know. Personally, I'm not that ethically concerned with animals.
Why not?
I just think it's kind of hypocritical to be overly concerned with animals at the same time not look at human rights and human ethics. I know they're kind of mutually exclusive.
No. They're not mutually exclusive, you mean?
I mean, they're kind of mutually. I swear,
How? No.
What do you mean?
So
I mean, they can both be for human rights and for.
Yeah. So they're not mutually exclusive. Mutually exclusive means one or the other.
Okay, my bad.
Sure, but some people say that. Most animal rights advocates I know also are involved with human rights stuff. But if you think about it, think of all the human rights violations that happen in animal agriculture. There are 13-year-olds working in slaughterhouses now. There's all this child labor. The slaughterhouse workers have some of the highest rates of PTSD, depression. There's a 100% turnover rate at slaughterhouses every year. So there's also the issue of, waste and slaughterhouses and factory farms being built closer toward marginalized communities because they can't fight against it. The shit goes in their water. So to me, it's all connected. I think all discrimination comes from the idea that the lives of an in-group are more valuable than the lives of an out-group. And that's manifested in the form of racism, of sexism. And now it's manifesting with humans saying, we are human, we're part of this in-group, so we can do whatever we want to animals just because we want to. Did you know that they have to be forcibly impregnated?
Yeah,
Right. What do you think about that?
I mean, it's kind of wrong.
It's weird.
And then to take the baby, forcibly pregnant and then take the baby is
Right.
kind of off.
I mean, I don't live here, but where I live, my grandma does it on her own.
That's how my
She takes the baby away on her own?
No, milking the cow,
I guess
ethically.
She doesn't take the baby ever. Does she kill the cow because cow's milk production declines after about 5 years?
No, she just keeps them around because they also help with the crops.
Like eating the grass or whatever? So she doesn't kill them?
Their feces are used
Oh, yeah. She doesn't kill them?
Especially
international
eventually,
farms
yes.
are going to be better.
She does kill them eventually.
For me, yeah.
Okay. There it is. So do you think it can be ethical to kill animals when you don't need to?
When you don't need to.
Yeah.
It's not ethical. But also, we have a problem of overproducing animals.
We definitely overproduce. But why do we produce so many animals?
Because there's a high demand.
Exactly. So what would be one way to lower the production of animals?
Drink less milk.
To lower the demand, right?
Do you support the cow industry if the industry just improved rather than you're just completely against killing cows and
Sure. So what I'm against is violating the rights of animals when we don't need to. So I base this on two scientific principles. The first is that animals are sentient, they're conscious, they're cognizant individuals who have a vested interest in not suffering and dying. The second is that humans do not need to consume animals or animal products to survive and thrive. So adding those two together equals let's give moral consideration to animals, right? It's grounded in logic and reason. Have you all ever considered going vegan and not supporting industries that abuse animals?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I've considered it. I've definitely done vegetarian.
Okay.
Sometimes I do Lent, which is basically going vegan for religious reasons.
I thought it was only on Fridays.
No, it's like
no, that's a 40 or
no. For
Yeah.
Orthodox, I'm Orthodox. Orthodox, it works kind of different. You go
Okay.
vegan basically like I want to say like collectively like 4 months per year, which is better than being like, you know, having your normal diet for an entire year.
Right. No, it's definitely better. So let's say over the course of 1 year, the average American, pays for around 250 animals to be tortured and murdered. That's generally the average. Let's say you go 4 months and you reduce that down to 150 animals that you're going to torture and murder. To those 150 animals, does it matter that you're not harming other animals, or is the experience of suffering going to be the same for them regardless?
It's gonna be the same for them regardless.
Yeah.
One thing that stumps me is the sentience thing. Like, at what level would you cut that off? Because would you say because you guys you obviously are you vegan? Or,
Yep.
Yeah. So you eat plants, you eat.
Sure.
So would you say? I mean, I guess because they're living things, they're kind of sentient. They have a proprioception. They have.
So plants are not sentient according to the scientific literature. They lack a central nervous system. But even let's pretend that plants were sentient just for right now.
Fine.
What do farm animals eat before they reach slaughter weight?
Oh, plants.
It takes over 15 times more plants to feed to animals to then eat the animals than if you ate the plants directly. So even if someone believed that plants were sentient, it would still make sense to be vegan.
It's better to do something rather than nothing.
Oh, for sure. For sure, better to do something rather than nothing. But why not go further, right? And say you're going to do all you can do. That's what veganism is. It's just reducing animal suffering as far as practical and possible, as far as you can, right? And you could also look at it as a rights violation, like we shouldn't violate the rights of animals when we don't need to. Do you think that's like a solid goal?
Yeah. So I think that's something people can get behind.
What about you?
Yeah.
Yeah? Nice.
I'm definitely gonna do Lent this year, or try to.
Cool. And remember that as long as you don't go vegan, animals are tortured because of your actions. And I know it's an uncomfortable truth, and people don't want to hear it, but I'm not here to sugarcoat anything. I consider this to be a moral injustice in the same way that oppressing women was. And when women were fighting for women's rights, men weren't happy about it. In the same way, when we're fighting for animals' rights. Right. But that doesn't mean that we shouldn't grant animals' rights just because people are unhappy, right? Yeah, well, let me give you guys some information.
So this thing where a fully grown pig has the same size brain as a toddler or something like that.
Yeah.
Something
Yeah, 3-year-old human.
3-year-old human, yeah.
Do you think we should eat 3-year-old humans?
I mean, yeah. Yeah, obviously not, but
Right.
I don't know.
So the way I see it is that we've been culturally conditioned to view some animals as other animals.
Is it biologically conditioned?
It's tough because, humans have always eaten animals, but we did it in times of necessity for survival. And the meat industry has definitely culturally conditioned us to believe their propaganda that we have to eat animal-based protein to build muscle. Not true. That we have to do this to be healthy. Not true. That it's the tastiest food in the world. Not true.
Is it not a lot harder if you're vegan to
get protein or to what specifically?
To get protein, yeah.
No.
Especially if you're low income. How about if you're low income?
Great question. So another thing that always surprises people is they think of veganism as this expensive elitist.
Yeah.
This study came out of Oxford last year, and it showed that vegan diets actually come in 30% cheaper than omnivore diets. Wow, you were way off. Are 30% cheaper than omnivore diets. That's even adjusting for protein, because the cheapest sources of protein, lentils, beans, rice, tofu, tempeh, all those are cheaper than even eggs, which is the cheapest animal protein when you adjust per gram. So it's not harder, although people think it's harder. There is a slight adjustment, but what do you think is harder? You adjusting to a different protein source, or animals being mutilated, confined, tortured, and hung upside down by their feet and stabbed in the throat?
Yeah, I think definitely stabbing the throat is slightly harder.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So where does this leave you?
Sorry?
Where does this conversation leave you?
I don't know. I have a lot of vegan friends, and they've like proposed the same arguments.
But also just on a.
I think I agree. Logically,
Yeah.
veganism is the way.
Sure.
I think it's just
Emotionally.
I'm
Yeah.
very attached to meat.
I totally understand, and that's exactly how I felt. I can tell you what changed for me. So I was there logically. I said, vegans are probably right, but emotionally, I didn't have the courage and the conviction to really think it was possible for myself. But what I did was I worked on connecting with the animals and learning about the industry. So I watched this documentary called Dominion, and it shows the standard practices of the meat industry. And I saw the full reality of what was happening to animals. And now when I look at a piece of chicken, I don't think, oh, yummy chicken. I think, wow, that chicken was kept in a terrible shed for 6 weeks. Over 20% of them died from disease. And they grew too fast to even support their body weight. They were dehydrated. They were suffering from pneumonia. Then they get pulled on a truck to a slaughterhouse the first time they see sunlight. Then they go into an electric shock bath and are hung upside down, have their throats slit, and are put into a boiling tank of water where they're supposed to be dead, but some of them are boiled alive. So when you see all that, it naturally reduces your desire to eat it, right? But the other thing is to try tasty vegan foods. Impossible Burger, I think, is awesome. Vegan chicken is great. There's also these substitutes. So yeah, I would say that maybe you're not there yet emotionally, but animals' lives are on the line. And until you do get there, they're going to be tortured because of your actions.
If you're going to really make that comparison, which, like, all right, you really need to make that.
But yeah, and I appreciate this conversation. I'm not here to make you feel bad.
No, obviously not.
What was your name?
Zach.
Zach, I'm Natalie.
Nice to meet you, Natalie.
It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, me too.
Thanks for watching. If you want to help us ban slaughter in the United States, consider becoming a monthly supporter to Pro Animal Future.